It was a mid-spring night, and the little boy had long sleeves. Therefore, somehow he was still able to walk about and find his sister. And man, this game, I like... By the way, this game is Midsummer Night.
Yeah.
And I was expecting something Shakespearean, and wow, I got like a poor man's Secret of Mana / Secret of Evermore. Even a poor man's Secret of Evermore.
It doesn't even feel like Secret of Mana. It's more like a pointing... It's not even point-and-click adventure.
It's like
more
an NES version. Like if you downgraded the concept of Secret of Mana, say they ran out of budget, kind of like Xenogears, right at the end.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, well, third disc Xenogears. Anyways, imagine they then ported Secret of Mana to the NES, and it's like, we have to really cut the budget, cut everything that is pretty about this game.
So you know what? Let's just cut the role-playing system, the whole fighting system, and just make it like an adventure game where you go around.
It really plays with all the bubbles. It's like, you can't go that way. Let's go over it. Can't go under it. Let's go around it.
You can't go here.
You don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere but where you want to go in this game. And I think I love like the concept. I think I read about the concept, and it has a lot of like fantasy sort of characters, like a talking frog and a talking tree and a giant gnome in the middle of nowhere, and statue.
And you're able to revive the frog with liquid.
Yeah, but like your sister gets captured by a beast. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting after it starts off kind of boring. And then you look like a mini version of that guy, Scott. What's his name from Scooby-Doo?
Shaggy?
No, not Shaggy, the
Fred?
blonde guy. Fred, yeah. So you look like you play as a small
Fred.
No. But it's like, this game, to me, it's too linear. It's one thing to have a linear game, but when it's like the game forces you to follow a certain path, you can't go and do anything else. I find that, it puts me off from playing an RPG where there's nothing interesting along the way. Like, it's sort of like you're going from point A to point B, but like the journey is not interesting in an RPG. Like, it's just filler. Yeah. That's what it felt to me. Like, it felt like the graphics were okay. I thought how they did the forest was pretty good. But like everything else, like, wasn't interesting.
This game does have a certain air of mystery and interest to it.
Yeah, it's got like a certain appeal with the way that it sort of feels like rustic. The graphics are kind of rustic. And the fact that I don't think that this game is probably in another language, like when this was first made. It definitely does not feel, I'm not going to say Canadian, it definitely does not feel like North American. Yeah, it feels more Russian in origin. Yeah, or specifically, Polish. Yeah. I know. Specifically Polish. No. Polish, maybe. Maybe Polish. That's what it feels like. But I just feel like there's no momentum. Like in an RPG, like we played Secret of Mana recently, and at least there's like a sense of momentum. Yeah, like you get the sword, then you find out, you have to leave the village. Like there's some sort of tension. You have to fight the mantis in the middle of that too. Yeah, but there's some tension, and in this game there's no tension. It's just like, it's a frog. I poured water on him. Yeah, again, this is more like an adventure game than an RPG, where it's like you grab items, you go around, you basically combine item A with thing B, and you get a little more progress in the game. So, for instance, we revive the frog, and the frog gives us some advice. I just feel like there's no reward system. Like, you solve something, it's like, yay, I solved that puzzle. But like, in RPG, you beat the boss, and like, the example I'm thinking of is like Chrono Trigger. You beat the boss, there's a sparkle, there's like rewarding music, there's something, right? Yeah. But like in this, it's just like you solve something, and it's like, now what? Yeah. Like there's no. I agree with you on motivation. That regard. But again, I think you're probably thinking of like a completely different game out, and this is more of an adventure game. So it's more you're encouraged to take notes, pay attention to the conversation. Yeah. This really feels like a throwback to games from like the late 80s, early 90s, where just
this
stuff
kind
happens.
this
but
sort of plays, and I'm gonna get myself a little flamed for this. This plays a little more like Secret of Monkey Island than it is.
I don't think it really has the humor of Monkey Island.
That's
I
exactly.
wouldn't compare it to Monkey Island at all. Like,
Well, it's somewhere
it
among.
doesn't have
It's,
like the quirks or like.
well, it's something among those lines where it's basically like a sort of walk and touch adventure instead of a point and click adventure.
This sort of feels like the only way I can compare it to Monkey Island is it feels like someone tried to make Monkey Island, or someone tried to make like an adventure game, just like the game that they played that they really liked, but they didn't really know how to make a game. So they're like, we're gonna have these characters, it's gonna be great, and then it doesn't like mesh together as a game. Like it's just sort of like this happens and this happens.
I think
like there's no style and like.
I think we're starting to get a good feel of what our final rating is going to be.
This is the best 4 out of 10 game I've played in a long time. It's just it doesn't feel. This feels like it belongs on the CDI. That's what it feels like to me.
A little harsh, a little too harsh. Like everything else was just okay, even mistaking it for an RPG. But calling it something that's only good for the CDI, that's a new low, man.
I'm glad I'm impressed.
Anyways, my final rating is surprisingly a 5 out of 10. I mean, it's definitely not my kind of game, so there's a bit of bias towards that. But there's also like, you don't really have a good sense of where you need to go. The graphics are good. There's this one point in the game where it actually did feel tense, where you get poisoned by a snake and you have to grab items in a particular order.
The funny part about this game, is it tells you everywhere that you can't go, but it doesn't tell you
where you need to go.
Or
yes,
like, it doesn't hint.
That is the thing
and
that
it's like,
I
you
have
can't
a problem
go that way.
with.
You can't go that way. Oh, your sister's stolen. You can't go that way. You can't go that way. It's like, where am I going? You can't go that way. You can't go that way.
Yeah, it's like this is why I kind of don't like about adventure games, because
it's like you're punished for doing stuff.
Because they tell you everything but what you need to do.
But
so
adventure games, at least it's funny and like you can still walk around and like do things most of the time. But with this game, it's like it's so linear and rigid that there's no fun to be had unless you like solve the next puzzle. And even then, we did the frog thing, whatever that achieved, and then we didn't know what to do next, and like
we just decided to quit.
It seemed like there was no consequence, like there was no progression or anything.
It was basically like, because it was like we talked to the frog. The frog talked about a dude who was across the swamp, and then after that we were like,
the frog's like, that's all I know, go away.
Yeah, basically. I think what the thing is that I think we aren't well equipped to play adventure games.
No, I don't think it's even that. I think it's just this game. It's like as if it was go back to like 40 years ago when games were just starting out, and like the people making the games weren't really crafting them. They just
typed it out.
They just like, we need to make a game. Okay, let's make this game. Okay. We got this frog idea, okay, we'll throw that in, we have a tree, let's throw it in, and it's like, it's not crafted at all, it's just like a bunch of raw ideas, and they put them all together, and like, there's the game. Like a basic storyline, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say though, if you are interested in adventure games, try
Monkey Island.
Well, I'd say try this game too, because it does have a good fantasy feel, it does have a good story to it. It's just be prepared to just pay tons of attention, tons of details, and like maybe even play this with a walkthrough if you need it.
I wouldn't even go that far. I'd just be like, if someone gives you this game for free, great. If you get in a bundle, great. And there's other good games. Otherwise, I wouldn't throw money at this.
Yeah.
This is a CDI quality game. That's what I'd say.
And me, on the other hand, I'm actually playing the role of,
No Finrauser.
The nicer person, the optimist, which is weird because I'm more of a pessimist. But let's assume that I'm an optimist.
Heaven's advocate.
Yes, God's advocate. And I'd be saying,
okay,
this game's good.
All right, well there you go.
Keep on gaming.
And have a good summer.
Whoop!